And I think that comes with intentionality, because I don't want it to be solely a talk about menopause. Let's talk about overall just understanding the changes of your body, because as I mentioned, this is my mission is that not only we have an intergenerational conversation, but let's make sure we're exchanging amongst our loved ones or our communities, because that village that we have, we want them to understand and not persist in dogma, you know, or persist in some of the things that I hear, which is, oh, you'll just get over it, or this is normal, suck it up, and get dismissed, because that's the last thing we want.
Season 3 with your favorite trio. Hey. Welcome back to Heart Prince of Loss podcast. I'm Amanda.
I'm Sophy.
And I'm Kristin.
And we are so excited to bring you another phenomenal episode where we are talking about all things grief and loss and widowhood and healing and strength and hope and grace and love, all the things.
I'm just going back and forth with it, like, okay.
So excited about our topic today. We've talked a lot about how grief and loss impacts all aspects of life, secondary losses, the things that happen to us. Well, first of all, I'm sorry, y'all. How are y'all doing?
We're good.
You know what?
It's always a blessing, right?
Better than good and better than most.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
I mean, that's not from me. That's from somebody else. Dog, I think Les Brown or somebody. I'm just going to throw that out there.
It's not my coin phrase.
But I am better than, good and better than most.
Praise God.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay, back to it.
Let's get
what you were saying.
Hopping into what we're doing today. We are we talk about impacts overall, secondary losses, how grief impacts your body, physical, mental, spiritual, all the things, right? So we are so grateful to have an expert with us today.
It's always good to have experts.
Always good to have experts. And we have the bomb guests on our show. I mean, they are just the best. And so today we are talking about physical health and how grief impacts you overall, your hormones, your body, all the things. And we have an expert with us, none other than Dr. LaRessa. Hey, welcome, LaRessa. She happens to be one of my sorority sisters, the best sorority.
That's awesome. First and foremost, right? It's not about that today.
Today, she is our expert doctor on all things body, especially relating to women. And what I love about Dr. LaRessa is your holistic approach to healing women, like the whole body. And I love that. And so we're going to get into that today and talk about how grief affects us as a whole and tap into some of that wisdom that you have regarding that. In particular, well, I'll let you tell us about yourself. Go ahead and tell us about you. Who is Dr. LaRessa?
First of all, thanks for having me, ladies. And can I just say, y'all are fierce.
Oh, thank you.
Y'all are fierce. Just walking in here, the energy, the commitment, and just hearing a little bit of how your worlds started to intertwine. I know that your impact will be significant. And guess what? That is all things hormones, right?
Absolutely.
So, for those out there, I'm Dr. LaRessa Ferdinand. I'm a board certified OB-GYN and an integrative health health and menopause health specialist. And most of all, at the other end of the day, I'm a mom of 2 children, married here in Orlando, Florida. I own a medical wellness clinic here, Thrive Beyond Wellness, and also do consulting through my other business, Estrogen Doctor Company. And I will say that within itself was a leap, because many people see physicians in a traditional sense. And one of the things that I hope that we explore a little bit is that at some point we shift identities. You know, we're still part of what God has cultivated within us.
Yeah.
But in a certain season of life, or what I see a lot of women in, as they shift more into over 30, over 40, over 50, they start becoming, you know, evolving within themselves. You know, priorities shift, identities particularly may shift in roles, and then oftentimes we just need to think about, how does that unpack itself when you're going through biological changes? Like, no matter what, that clock is going to tick, despite grief, despite you had a bad day, despite, not only that, I think my body's breaking up with me. What the heck is going on? So I'm looking forward to the conversation today. I'm sure it'll be dynamic. And once again, still, you know, meeting to y'all's mission and making incredible impact to women out there. So thanks for having me again.
Thanks for being a part. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's just dive right in. I'd love to, one of the things that I love exploring, because I know myself, I'm speaking for myself, but I know my co-hosts here also have a history of trauma and impact on our nervous system prior to even becoming widows, right?
Yeah.
We have a history of, and we all have books that you can, you know, explore, but so the how our bodies respond, like you said, that clock is going to be ticking. Our bodies naturally respond. I'm particularly trying to address my nervous system and my fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system that's constantly firing because of the things that I've experienced. So can you tell us a little bit about that, and how, I guess, just how it works, how our nervous system works, and in relation to grief and that impact overall?
Yes, absolutely. And I do want to tie it in also, not only from a biological standpoint, but also weave some personal experiences or what I see from women. And one of the most impactful things when I've gone on my journey, and touching base on that holistic component, because we are the sum of our parts. And many times in our healthcare systems, we go to one doctor for this, we go to this doctor for that, we go to that doctor for that, and then it's a miscommunication, and then no one's asking even, what is, one of the things on my questionnaire is, what has been a significant loss for you in the last year? That's so impactful. That changes communication, that changes how the, not only the dialogue, but it releases some tension, because there's a lot of anxiety with coming into the a clinician and physician, and I've learned that over time. And so let's kind of tie that in a biological sense. When you talk about the nervous system, so the sympathetic nervous system is oftentimes what we like literally live off of. You know, it's a constant fight or flight system, and the balance of that is the parasympathetic system, that's more rest and digest. I mentioned I'm an OB by trade, and one of the things that we do, we monitor a fetal heart rhythm. That allows us to know fetal surveillance, fetal well-being, how the baby's doing in the inside of mom, and how mom's, the baby's central nervous system is. And from that heart rate, we can understand whether the baby's, in simple terms, more stressed out and not for labor. Name how many times someone checked on that for you after you delivered from your mama. Right?
Yeah.
So this is so impactful, because you need that stress response. It's just regulating that stress response.
Absolutely.
You need it for, hey, I don't want to, hey, I'm about to run a red light. Oops, you know, you need that response, right? Oh, I see a ball coming at me. Oop, you know, I need that response. But it becomes cumulative if we're, okay, now I think I have to pick up such and such, and I need to go over here, and I need to make a list. Like, it's constantly in that drive. So
Yeah.
mix that in with what your brain is one of the most sexiest organs to me. And it has so many unknowns all the same. But a lot of your hormone signals are starting from that. Your stress responses are starting from that. It is part of your central nerve, part of that central nervous system of that fight or flight, and this also rest and digest component. And so I teach women, how do we get out of that sympathetic drive?
Yeah.
Because it causes that impact on how we respond and how our hormones are going to be produced, of what we call the HPA, or the hypothalamus pituitary axis. We're not going to go into, making sure you know the names of that or what have you, but understand that all of those things are impacted. So let's mix that in with grief, where we're already having some dysregulation of our nervous system. And then now we're going to impact it with emotional. This may manifest in different physical symptoms. So for us, it's maybe poor sleep, I got an attitude, or of most recent, for me, with losing a father, a best friend, and another friend, all in less than a 3 months time period. My vulnerability is like, at some point, I'm like, at one point, I'm a 5 o'clock CEO to, okay, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and I don't want to leave the bed.
Yeah.
And I have, children to look at. So the reason why I'm sharing that spectrum is that impact on your nervous system, when you already are constantly in that sympathetic drive, then you add like this other cherry on top.
Yeah.
Don't be hard on yourselves, ladies, when you're trying to ease back into whatever that moving target of normal for you, because there's some biological things that are happening that are disconnected and get even more traumatized when we add grief on top of it.
Yeah.
And your brain has to get used to it, because that's a memory. That person what created a memory in your brain, and then now they're gone, and like your body's trying to figure out, where does that emotion go?
Yeah.
So, and then at the end of the day, your biological clock is still ticking. So perimenopause, menopause is going to happen.
Yeah.
Ooh, Jesus.
So
It's happening.
it's happening.
And I would
matter
say, no matter what, right? And I would say that most, we're a little young. The average age of a widow is 59. So, wherever you may be in the menopausal age for that, I think it's like between 40 something and 50 something, right?
Well, the average age of menopause, and just for, definition, because there'll definitely be some people who listen in, where one of my missions is to make sure it's an intergenerational conversation, that our younger daughters and women are exposed to this experience and not feel like they have to be a reactionary to it. So average age of menopause, or the absence of a cycle where a woman has a uterus still intact for a year. However, many women are going to start experiencing those symptoms way before that happens, even if they had their uterus removed, because it's all about the ovaries reducing in function and losing losing your eggs over time, and therefore causing hormones like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone that are starting to decrease. And you have receptors, what we call little catch mitten functions on each of our cells that are responding to these hormones. And so average age of some of these symptoms even coming are 45 to 55. But what we're finding is that there are a percentage of women that may have premature menopause, less than 40, or early menopause in their early 40s. And so therefore they're thinking, okay, I'm crazy, something's wrong with me, and not recognizing that these are the hormonal fluctuations that are going on top of it. So, and it's interesting thing too, is that 80% of women are going to experience a particular grief or a loss of a spouse or a loved one throughout any of these stages.
Absolutely.
So the earlier of understanding these changes of your body, the better, but
Right.
understanding that normal is a moving target, and you
Right.
could be experiencing that earlier than you think, no matter
Right.
what age.
Right, right. So, you say the average age is 45 to 55
To have symptoms.
to have symptoms. Could you, and obviously it's moving
Yeah.
target, and you say you obviously can experience some of those symptoms a little before, neither, or I don't want to tell everybody's age, but I'm not 45.
I am.
And so, and I know my close friend group is not 45 yet, but they're experiencing
Yeah.
symptoms, and so I just wonder, and the question is, do our life experiences, because they impact our hormones, right? And the things that our bodies are doing.
Yes,
So is there that
absolutely.
thing? Because I guess there's that thing too, where I feel like young girls are starting cycles earlier because of hormones that are put in food and, how we
Yeah.
live life. And so
Yeah.
then would it be the same impact on the back end of
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
experiencing-
You're talking about precocious puberty, or girls who are starting cycles a little earlier, and especially within women of color.
Yes. Yes.
And many of that can unfold to changes in what their menstrual cycles are going to look like, more heavier and rougher periods. So let's start with some of the basics. So hormones are biological chemicals, and their structures, and they are riding through your bloodstream, and sometimes they take Ubers through your bloodstream is what I call it. They ride on certain things to get to the target tissue in the cells, because they have different functions. And guess what else is in the bloodstream? Those particular things that were impacted, our nervous system, so traumatic experiences, foods or nutrients or toxins that our body's trying to fight off throughout the day, viruses and bacteria outnumber people. So those things. And so that can impact how they function, right? So going back to, okay, they're in our system, but they're exposed to the environment that we're around. So thus nutrition, how we work out, how our energy expends throughout the day. So you're absolutely right. And when you talk about age ranges, I kind of want to get back to just making sure that people are aware. I think oftentimes we may normalize stuff too much. I can't, there's so many conversations I've had just even based on irregularities of cycles. Like, women are normalizing that I'm in Walmart or whatever retailer and I'm on overnights, like completely. But that's just part of what they do, And a lot of that could be, hormonal changes. And those symptoms can be anywhere from sleep, brain fog, vaginal, changes, libido changes, sexual wellness, to skin, changes in our skin, our joints, how we move. It's so many constellations of things, from mood to brain to how, how we function in life, like our whole emotional and mental well-being, because I know you all talk about that a lot. So understand that any of those factors where you feel like your body's breaking up with you, you notice the change, trust those instincts, because we know our bodies. And a lot of that not only can be hormonal effects, but just total different manifestations of just changes in our environment, from food, loss of a loved one, to, I know this person that just cut me off, So I want people to, understand that those actions in life are going back to how our nervous system and how our body reacts to it. So for
Good.
sure.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Real good.
I know.
I'm like,
I know feelings. I feel like I felt that when I turned like 39, 40. And I'm 45 now, and can't
You look
understand
good.
why. Thank you. I just, all that.
I know when she said she had Andrew's 29,
My
a
son will be
29-year-old
yeah.
son, I said, whoa.
Well, had him young. It's a teenage mom, so that's different. But yeah, I feel like at this age, I've just started. My friend groups are just talking about it, so there's not a lot of awareness and knowledge around that, because you're up and down. You're like, what's wrong with me? And then I have one friend that so funny because she'll call and she'll start crying, and I'm like, "What is wrong with you?
What just
Like, why are you crying?" She's like, "I don't know. I think it's my hormones. I just don't know." And I'm like, "Okay, that makes me feel better about myself because yesterday I don't know what was going on. Like, I was having an okay day. Nothing really happened, but it was this thing that happens to you and you just your emotions are all over the place and up and down, and because of the lack of awareness you start to think like, dude, you're going crazy, you're nuts.
You're so not.
Yeah. You're not.
So it's a lot of I think as women, especially if you're late 30s, early going into your 40s, we should definitely start looking into those things and learning about it, becoming more aware of it, because it's a natural state. It's a natural state, and it's going to happen. So you don't feel so crazy, Kristin.
I know. I'm listening. You see my eyes like this, like, wait a minute. When she said sex, I was like,
That's true.
But no, but seriously, the emotions just be all over anyway, especially then when we lose the people that we lost.
Yeah.
Like when I did my podcast, after I lost my son, and I started noticing, even when I was coming on my menstrual, because 32 when I became a widow, 34 when I became an angel mom. So I started realizing a lot of stuff that I was not even noticing when I had a husband and a teenager. It was so different. I didn't pay that much attention to my body because I think I was just so busy with just everything going on in my life. But when that happened and I moved to Charlotte, I was like, I just noticed every time I came on my cycle, when you come on your cycle, you're already like your emotions, but I would it would just be so deeper. And I'm like, man, and then it's just, I could not, it's like my grief would hit me harder around that time. Like it would just it'd be like, and I'm like, on top of everything else, but my emotions, my hormones, it was so out of whack around that time too. And I know we talking about menopause stuff, but the hormones and things like that, with my grief, it attacked me way harder. And I remember saying that on my podcast, I'm noticing around this time, I'm way more emotional than I ever was.
Yeah.
But it was just that grief would just hit me differently. And also I became really fatigued when I lost my husband. When I went and I started another job, and I could just go to sleep at the drop of a dime. And I never could just do that. I couldn't, especially I just find myself just literally, I was very fatigued. I was I felt like it took everything out of me. You know what I mean? But again, I wasn't realizing it until I started writing my book and doing research and stuff that comes along with grief. Your hormones, everything is so different, and it just hits you differently.
Right.
I'm curious, do you have those conversations with your spouse about your hormones?
That is an excellent question.
Yeah.
Because as a hormone specialist and a women's health specialist, I find that I'm guilty as charged. I'm not having as many of these conversations with my spouse. And I don't know if it's because, like you said, we're in the thickness of life and the priorities at home are children. He supports what I'm doing. He knows what I'm doing. But a lot of times I have to initiate those conversations. Just even coming here, okay, we're going to talk about this. I'm really excited about it. We're going to mix in what I'm doing, even with grief. And I think that comes with intentionality, because I don't want it to be solely a talk about menopause. Let's talk about overall just understanding the changes of your body. Because as I mentioned, my mission is that not only we have an intergenerational conversation, but let's make sure we're exchanging amongst our loved ones or our communities, because that village that we have, we want them to understand and not persist in dogma, you know, or persist in some of the things that I hear, which is, oh, you'll just get over it, or this is normal, suck it up, and get dismissed, because that's the last thing we want. So I have to, admit that I have to be intentional about those conversations because I'm just like you. When we're at home and managing a 2-year-old that's a little firecracker all over the place, and you know, a 10-year-old in elementary school, and then we're part of a that population, that sandwich generation, you know. And now that I've lost both of my parents, I feel even more need to make sure our connection within our family ties still are strengthened, you know, because something about losing those matriarchs or those major people in your family, you know, that's historical in a way, you know. But I love that question because many times I am asked like, okay, we need to bring men at the table. You know, I recently was on a webinar on Thursday night where out of the panelists of women, we had a male moderator, but it was intentional about us doing that because we wanted to make sure that the conversation was balanced, you know? So, I'm on that ride along with you, trying to, you know, figure out, make sure they're part of it too.
Right.
And educating them. You know, when I was speaking to the lady that was next to me, she, you know, was saying how she had a baby, and I'm like, how it changed, the whole dynamic of the marriage changed, right? And I was like, I felt that too. I'm like, but I felt like if men educated themselves with how women change, their hormones change, everything about that change. You know what I'm saying? And men don't see it because they just see us as the women that we were before. Like, how could you be feeling like this? Why are you mad today? And I'm like, I got a whole baby in me, but they don't see it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the hormonal change. Like, and I'm like, I really wish men educate themselves on certain things, and it takes us to talk to them, but sometimes they have to read it and see it, because once it happened, it's like, you changed. Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But
it just grew and
but the hormones changed, and she was like, it took me 3 years to get back to myself. You know what I'm saying? And that takes time. So even like married, and we have to literally speak to our spouses about that. Like me, I'm like, look, my menstrual about to come. I'm moody. My appetite changed. And the health app that you have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, yep, my appetite changed. Yep, the bladder inconsistent. And it, like, you know what I mean? So, but it's the things that I'm becoming aware of that I never was. Out of all of these years of having cycles and everything, it took me to my 30s to actually like, this is actually going, like, you know, I'm being all the way honest. Like, I really did not pay that much attention. You know, but now you see, and so I don't feel it's so bad, because I'm like, I literally document everything now, but I'm like, okay, this is why I'm feeling like this, and then I speak up on it to, you know, to my husband, like, look, I'm feeling it right now. I'm not in the mood. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be, you know, or even when you're grieving, just being open about that. I'm like, look, I'm having my time right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm feeling it, you know, and I'm just not in the mood right now. Having that open dialogue with your significant other, your spouse or whoever, and your friends or however, because your whole hormones, your emotions, everything changed even once, you know, you just feel that overcoming. You know what I mean? So I just feel like the dialogue is very necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not in the home. I mean, you're not, you know, I know growing up, it's just, Sophie, during this age, you're going to probably get your period. And then when you get pregnant, this is how you're going to feel. And that's about it.
I'm glad you got that much.
You know, my mother, I mean, that's it. And you go about your business, a part of life, you know, but there's nothing, there's no other type of knowledge or vulnerability as far as like what's happening in the woman's body. The different phases,
especially when we're so
life.
young.
Absolutely.
Or they might give you that expectancy book. I know they gave me that. I was like 17 pregnant. Like, what am I trying to read?
What expectancy book?
It's like a book. It's
what to expect when expecting.
It's like, and it's the pregnant woman. It's, I don't know what it looks like now, but that was like 21 years ago. You remember that?
I remember that.
Really? See? And I'm 17. I'm like, I'm not about to read this. I don't even know what's really going on.
Yeah, they made a movie off of it.
Really?
I don't remember.
Well, somebody gave me it, and I'm like, I'm not reading it.
Yeah.
I'm just have to figure this out. Like, I feel like, I think the baby is moving. Like, it's so, like, it's really crazy how, like, you know, I was not educated, like, as deeply. And we have so many different resources now. So that's what I'm very happy about. Like, look, you could call a doctor, like, hey, could you come on my podcast? I'll be there. Like, how dope is that, though?
That's
we would not At 21 years ago, when I was about to have a baby, I did not have that. Like, I could just hit up a doctor.
Right.
Like, hey, could you come educate me on hormones, menopause, premenopause, and grief?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But you know what? When you're in your bubble, and so I will talk about my venture into making sure that I create spaces like this is, our healthcare system is broken. Let's just go ahead and put it out there, right? And women sharing their experiences and what's going on with their bodies and stuff helped me evolve as a physician in my dialogue, how I reach out, and having honest conversations, even sharing about my own vulnerabilities. This is not me 10 years ago, like telling you like what's going on, because I've had to, do everything along. It's been one of the few, Black women, and I have to just ride along. But I realize I'm not serving myself or serving my patients that way, right? So in that schematic of things, social media and the network has like blossomed.
Right.
And then it took that one thing that someone sent me of a young girl. I don't know how old she was, but all I know is it was like over 1 million views, and how she connected with the audience, but talking about something I do every day and not a credential in the book. Not saying you gotta have, because I think those voices or influencers are important, but it helped navigate my thinking, because my friend said, so what are you waiting for? Because people are starting to create spaces of conversation where you are a specialist,
expert in,
and you can still change lives outside of the four walls of an office building, right? And so even going to that extent of allowing myself to make sure I create these spaces, or make myself available, because I do, or want to. Let me just put it that way. But one of the things, just taking off what you said, God made a beautiful instrument of our bodies. So our body has to adjust. So you were talking about, well, I'm just gonna have to, figure this out. The body has a natural way to adapt and do things. So know that along that road between hormones and different neurochemicals, and there's so many different hormones beyond estrogen and progesterone and testosterone, what we're familiar with our female hormones. We have things and other neurochemicals like your cortisol, stress response, or things called serotonin that really helps relax and make sure that you can sleep, and those adrenalines and those things with craving. There's some things called leptin and adipectin, which is another hormone, so we can have a whole nother conversation about that. So I guess what I'm saying is that no matter what, there's a constellation of where symptoms may plague, but it's a whole system at play. All right. And going back to the holistic component of, regardless, you're a sum of your parts, and so it's going to impact you. So along the way, your body has adapted, and you've had some dysfunction until you felt the malfunction. And so that malfunction came with, okay, we are adapting, we do what we do, let's get in where we fit in. I'm gonna fake it till we make it, or whatever, however that looks for people, to get going, to survive, until your body just forces you into, we're gonna have to thrive now, because you're about to break down, and all of that has a biological system. All of that has a systematic component of how we respond, and sometimes that is our wake-up call, like I'm bleeding out of my pants, or I can't sleep at night, or I done went off on like the third person this week, Jesus. All of it looks different for us, but I like to bring those practical components, because like you said, I track it, whether it's with my cycle or not, because it goes back to the awareness. The awareness becomes advocacy in spaces, and then we bring our allies with our village and our spouses and everything, so they can be able to learn. Because when you start healing women, you heal the world. It's a very big known fact. You hospital systems work on making sure that the woman is taken care of, because the woman is going to bring the other unit of the family in, and make them aware. So everything that we evolve in, as in this beautiful thing we call life, right? our journeys may look different, especially going through grief. But understand that there's still a biological standpoint that's going on, whether it's perimenopause or premenopause, it doesn't matter. To me, it just starts with, okay, something ain't right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? And having those many wake-up calls to me is part of that dialogue or conversation, because we normalize too much. We try to, you know, like, oh, I'll get over it, go back to those dismissive things that we already experienced. And we need to do something about it, because that's how we're going to age better.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to live better. And you can't serve from an empty cup.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to take that time.
Yeah.
Listen to your body.
Listen to.
That's what I heard
Absolutely.
you saying. Listen to your body.
That's
and
good.
know
Absolutely.
what's going on with your body.
Or try to figure it out.
Right.
Sometimes you don't know.
Yeah.
Figure it out, like you
don't
did,
know,
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hands off.
And if you don't know,
Yeah.
go, you know, the village that we talked about, the support that's needed.
The resources,
Reach out,
yes.
Go see
Yeah.
a doctor. Go.
Like you said, when you get that sign that say something not right, 9 times out of 10, it's not right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look into it.
Right.
Like
And don't settle, because and I'm not speaking specifically to anyone. I'm speaking to that person who is just like, oh, okay, well, they said all my labs are normal, but I still don't feel right.
Yeah.
You know?
You know.
I believe that there's a clinician that fits the season of life that you're in.
That's
Right.
good.
So just like we're not going to settle for the price comparison between one retailer. No, I'm gonna go somewhere else and go you know, I can get this for cheaper somewhere else. How about that same mentality of, that ain't right.
ain't right.
I've just been dismissed. I'm gonna find someone that works better for me.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
that is so important.
Yeah. So,
So,
good.
yeah.
So important. I feel like we just talked about a recent situation with our health, you know, and being dismissed at the doctor. And I too experienced, I don't speak about this a lot, but I had a brain aneurysm. And when I went to the emergency room, I was kind of dismissed as having a headache. And I persisted because I knew, I'm like, I have headaches and I know what a regular headache feels like and what I'm feeling now. And it's not right. And Lord knows now that I know what I know, it's like, had I went home, who knows what would have happened, you know? So be persistent in knowing how you feel, what's, you know, what may have been normal, what you knew is normal for your body. And if you're not feeling that, you know, do what you know is best for you and your body, and don't give up. Be your own advocate. Sometimes we have to, because,
absolutely.
because,
Yeah.
you know, no one knows better than
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
we know what we're experiencing.
And bringing and tying in that grief component, because like I said, it can really start dysregulating or really mix up things even more. And that time of healing, of course, is a journey. But it looks different for everyone. But there are some things that are going on from your brain down to your body, trying to flow. So this is when you're going to get more of the disruptions of things that happened before, from sleep to irregularities in cycle, potentially pain. Black women especially are dismissed a lot when it comes to pain. And there's research to even show that. So once again, it's evaluating that if I am in this state of grief, not minimizing this change, because there are some biological things that are trying to shift on top of the body just going through shock, you know?
Right.
And that's going to involve like your board of directors of health. So whether it's pulling in your therapist, you know, getting in the right gynecologist, sitting down and like, boo, this is what's going on. You know, like you gonna have to pick up these children today. I can't do this today.
Right.
So that becomes part of the healing network. But it starts with, you know, saying like, okay, no, I can't do things the same way, because this shift is going to have to happen, or you're going to tear it down.
I love that.
That's good.
This was real good. Like, I needed this. I needed this.
Good.
Seriously.
It's good. I think everybody needs this.
Yeah, in real
to
life.
recognize.
In real life,
Yeah.
we all do. We do. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
What is just one last thing you'd want to share? Well, and then before you go, share anything in terms of how we find you outside of here.
Absolutely.
Because you are phenomenal wellness physician that is, changing lives. So we want to be able to find you outside of here.
Thank you. First of all, thanks for creating this platform. And just like I said, the synergy that I see with the three of you all is magical. So
thank you so much.
And so if it was one last parting thing that I wanted to state out there, it goes back to take the time that you need, but have some kind of state of urgency when you know things are not right with your mental and physical well-being. Don't get complacent about it, because as far as I'm concerned, with a lot of things that have happened within our government, within just the state of where we are right now as a nation, women's health has been tried the most, and even so much when it comes to women of color. So you have to. So take the time. The journey is important when it comes to grieving, but have some kind of state of urgency that I have to bring my board of directors of health in here where I'm the CEO. Right? So where you can find me. So I can be found on Instagram at Dr. LaRessa. That's DrLaReessa. And there's links to also go into my website, still same name, .com. And for the last couple of years, even I had to kind of step back and do things at my leisure as far as grief and the things when it comes to education and what I can do with small ones. But I would like to say from the retreat that we had and the releasing, we had a good releasing.
We just recently come from a beautiful women's retreat.
It was. And we had a releasing ceremony. And one of the things that I released is settling.
That's good.
And from that was birth. I was like, okay. So coming up soon, this is how God has spoke to me through the retreat and the village. There will be a Dr. LaRessa Speaks. So little 5-minute educational nuggets that are going to come out through mainly Instagram platform and LinkedIn, which is Dr. LaRessa MD there. So we'll pray about that, but Dr. LaRessa Speaks. Our 5-minute nuggets that we need in life.
And listen, by the time this airs, you'll probably be having yours.
It'll be already out there. So listen, at that point, check her out. Tune in.
Absolutely. I love it. And I just want to thank you. Because you shared, that you recently had several losses. And so you're showing up still. And I praise you. Thank you for still doing.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
We will keep you uplifted in our prayers for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And just thank you for your time.
Oh,
yes.
Absolutely. I miss out on these three? Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Right,
thank you everybody for tuning in. Continue to like, subscribe, share. Heart Prince of Lost
comment
podcast.